for today's Friday show, we also asked for a few questions on the social media. Our producer, Mr. Tim Horsey, has been collating a couple of questions. We thought 2 would be enough to ask us. So Dunny, what have the Week in the Tackle audience got for us?
Well, my name's not Dunny. My name is Tim. But
did I say Dunny?
You did say Dunny. Yeah. That's okay.
I was like,
that's okay.
I don't have a question. I don't have a listener question.
So we're not going to cut it out. So let me just do it again. Sorry, Dunny. Get out, Tim. What you got for us?
And now he has to make a note to edit that out while also reading questions. Here he goes. So we're going to do this. When we do this Friday episode, we are going to list try and get some questions for you. You can also send us questions via Spotify on our Spotify page as well. If you want to comment on our YouTube page at Week in the Tackle, you can do it on Apple Podcasts as well. We have a significant number of avenues for you to ask Tom and Dunny some questions. But I'm pulling these right from Twitter here. This one comes from Eric, listener Eric. He said, if you can make one change or clarification to the laws of the game, what would it be and why? Tom looks confused, so I'll start with Dunny.
Ooh, this is a great question. What am I angry about the most? What am I angry about the most? I would adjust the new language of VAR, and I would take out the clear and obvious mistake, because I think that what we're continuing to see are mistakes being made or judgment calls being made that there's no intervention from the VAR because it falls in the gray area. And we've seen far too many times situations where there's tackles or challenges in the box where a VAR should suggest to the referee that he needs to have another look, because what is happening in real time and at full speed looks different when you have multiple camera angles and you're able to slow it down or speed it up. And this idea more recently, where we have come back and had the conversation, if he calls the penalty, well, there's not a clear and obvious mistake for the VAR to intervene and say, I think you need to take a look. Or if he doesn't make the call, it's not a clear and obvious mistake. He's got a slight touch on the ball, but he did go through him. One of those. So I think for our own sanity, we should take out the language clear and obvious mistake for intervention with VAR and assistant VAR, because I think you could clear up a couple of these instances where then we're just kind of putting our hands up and going, I could kind of see it called any other way, but like it's not overturned because, it's not a clear and obvious mistake.
Tim, ask me the question again.
Let's go to Eric here. He says, if you could make one change or clarification to the laws of the game, what would it be and why?
Because I had 2 answers for this, but one of them didn't work because I was going to do my calendar thing, so I'm not going to do that.
Please don't.
No, but that's coming back. That's coming back a lot over the next few years, so get used to it. It's going to get refined and refined and refined until someone actually does it. The one thing I would change is get rid of substitutions. I think it's changed the game in such a fundamental way from what the game is supposed to be. And I'm happy for the game to be shorter if we have to deal with the calendar issues that I'm not allowed to talk about in today's program. But I hate the fact that one team with their 5th substitute can bring on a £50 million player. And even at the very elite level, the other team can bring on some kid from the youth team who they've got to toss in because they're desperate because somebody's injured. I think it's become about squad hoarding. I think it's become about measuring your dick against the other sovereign wealth funds that own other clubs. And I think it's become a way to stunt careers. There are players now who are going to play a lot less football and be a lot less memorable and do a lot less because they spent their entire career sitting on the bench at Manchester City when they could go and be a star player for Leicester, for example. I mean, some Man City fans don't respect Riyad Mahrez. Whereas if he stayed at Leicester City, he might have had a stadium named after him. And in another era, in my era, that may have happened. So no substitution. That's what I'd do.
All right, one more here. I'm going to slightly change this question here from Warren, because he asked, when will we get Dunny and Tom in the booth together to call a game? Hell, it could even be a youth game. I'm going to flip this on its head. And Tom, I'm going to start with you. If you guys had one chance to call one game together, and maybe not the obvious Man United West Ham, unless you want to go there,
No.
What game would you like to call together and why?
Well, firstly, I'll say that we mentioned on Thursday's Grumpy Pundit show that June I'm off work. I basically don't work that much in June. I don't take any work on in June. And so we're going to see Dunny's MLS schedule. And we could maybe, I mean, I can't get on Apple, of course, because I'm not a celebrity like Dunny, but
No,
I could we can maybe do a substandard commentary for our Week in the Tackle subscribers on a game that Dunny's not doing potentially or something like that. So we're going to see what the schedule brings us. The game I would like to do, I think it would have to be a game we could really take the piss out of. Like, I'd love to do, I don't know, under 11s Chelmsford League, bottom of the table clash, and the loser has to dissolve as a club because they just can't play the game. So I one as well where the kids would never know we did it, so we could be really cruel about them. Like, here's little Johnny. He couldn't trap a bag of cement. He's running in the wrong direction. What's he doing? He's got his shorts on back to front. He really wants to be in the basketball class next door. And one kid just like sits down and starts like drawing because they don't want to play. Something like that. So I'd like to do a game with Dunny with disinterested children. That's what I'd like to do.
Little Johnny's dad's going to kick the shit out of you. Sorry, Tim. See, this is my fault. I was over in Europe and I could have scheduled a game, and I should have scheduled a game. I should have scheduled a time that I was there over the weekend. I should have been more proactive. I got caught up in living the Barcelona life and going to Girona and going to San Sebastian. And by the time I booked my flights for our family to go to London, we did it midweek. We didn't do it over a weekend. There was only one game, and that was Palace against Man United. I didn't even get to go to that game because I couldn't even get tickets. But Rennie was making it available. Should I have had the opportunity at some point, I'm absolutely going to take advantage of that. What game? You know, who do you hate the most, Rennie?
You.
Besides me in Premier League football. Besides him, Premier League football team. Dislike.
Oh, I feel like my mortgage depends on me not answering that question. So I will say,
it's a West Ham game. West Ham game.
Millwall, the big rival is Millwall.
Okay, so I would love to do like a Man City Millwall game. I'm a Man United fan. You're a West Ham fan.
Yes.
It's the two teams like we're not supposed to like at all. And I feel like the critical thinking and approach to the game would actually bleed into some great commentary, some great tactical like conversations, you know, the theoretical conversations surrounding the club, the haves, the have-nots, the spends, all of that. The plastic fans versus like the real fans, the fans inside the stadium versus the fans around the world. I think that would be a really fun game to do.